Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we'll be comparing a Ram Rebel to a Ram Power Wagon, and we're going to see what the differences are and which one you should buy. And I know the Power Wagon crew is going to come in strong, but I am going to make an argument for the Rebel in today's video. And both these trucks, by the way, have the same engine, so that makes things even more comparable. Anyways, before we get into the video, huge shout out and thank you to the Lurch Miller Dodge Ram here in Provo for giving me some time with both the trucks. Link to their inventory in the description down below. Link to my car buying guide as well. Let's get into it. So powering the Power Wagon is a 6.4 liter Hemi V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. It puts out 410 horsepower and then 429 pound-feet of torque. Now this Rebel is powered by the exact same powertrain, but you can also get the Rebel with the Cummins 6.7 liter inline 6 turbo diesel. Goes through a 6-speed, puts out 370 horsepower, so less horsepower, but 850 pound-feet of torque. Before we move forward with this comparison, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now when it comes to the front ends of the truck, they're pretty much identical. Now these have a different packaging on it, so that's why like the Power Wagon grille looks a little bit different with the vertical slats. But the Power Wagon you can see has a winch. You can also get a winch on a Rebel. They actually have another one here that happens to have the winch. But you can see the bumper and the hood vents and the cab lights and all of that. It is the same. So basically, you've got the same front end with the trucks. Now one of the biggest differences is the tires and the wheels. So with the Power Wagon, 285 by 70 by 17 with its setup, and then with the Rebel it is 285 by 60 by 20. So we've got these larger wheels, a little bit less sidewall on the Rebel compared to the Power Wagon, and you can see the tread pattern difference with the tires too. And by the way, both of them have Bilstein shocks. Yeah, look at the Rebel tires here, and then again you got those Bilstein shocks. And then you can see with the fender flares, pretty much a straight carryover with both of them. Same with the trailer mirrors, and even the height, pretty close. The Power Wagon does sit a little bit higher than the Rebel, and these both have the same engine, so you can't say that the Rebel is getting weighed down more. It's just, yeah, it looks like the suspension height's a little bit different. And then popping to the rear, I guess the Power Wagon does have the Power Wagon decal there on the side. But you can see that both of them being 2500s have the coil, and then you can see we've got Bilstein shocks again with both of the trucks. So here's the side profile with the Rebel, and then here's the side profile with the Power Wagon. Now with the rears of the trucks, everything is pretty much identical. You can even see with the exhaust tips poking out of the bottom, but yeah, they have the same powder coated bumpers here in the rear. This particular Power Wagon has a few more options, so it's got like bed liner and all that stuff, whereas this Rebel does not, but both have the same length in terms of bed length. And this leads us inside, where we're going to find a lot more similarities. So you can see here with the door panel and then the seats perforated all down the center portion. We also have power steps here in the back, which is pretty cool, for the cup holders, all of the charging ports and everything. Ice buckets underneath the floor mat there. Here, I'll just pick this up quickly so you can kind of see there. But this one's got the limited interior, it looks like, so a little bit nicer trim, but you can get the same thing in the Rebel if you get the limited interior with that. So the seats are also going to look a little bit different in the Power Wagon because of that kind of fancier spec with it. But the dimensions and everything are the same with the cabs. And I think you really see this once we pop up front. But something that I do want to mention, let's try not to hit the mirror, is that, again, you can see like just the height difference with the mirrors next to each other. It's interesting. Also, payload. Let's see, 2,971 pounds. We'll compare that to the Power Wagon. Here's the front seat with the Rebel. Nice trim throughout. Pop in, start it up. Full digital gauge cluster, that's always a cool feature to have. See the big infotainment system. You got dual zone climate, heated, ventilated seats, all of that. And then let's pay close attention to this. So we've got a 2-speed transfer case, hill descent control, rear locking differential, trailer brake controls as well. We got this whole center console set up with this particular one. You can see all the nice trim on the dash and everything. It says Rebel, and then you guys saw it earlier on the seats, it also says Rebel as well. And then let's quickly take a look at the pricing with this one. So this one has equipped stickers for $71,955. It's kind of like a Laramie Rebel. And this leads us over to the Power Wagon. I guess this one's got the limited interior, but let's see what the payload is here. 1362. So you've got much softer suspension with the Power Wagon. We'll see if that actually helps out the ride quality, but yeah, a lot less payload. And again, you got the fancier limited seats and all that, so nicer trim. No side steps, so you do have to step up yourself. That's funny. The lower option truck has side steps and this one doesn't. But yeah, full digital gauge cluster. This is a big difference here. So notice we still have a 2-speed transfer case, but we also have a sway bar disconnect, and we have a front locking differential. So we have one more locking differential and a sway bar disconnect. So that's a pretty big difference when it comes to off-roading. Still have trailer brake controls, hill descent control as well. This is cool, Power Wagon right there. It makes it feel a little bit more custom. And then you get like the limited interior, and all the Power Wagons have that cool badge on the glove box with it as well. But yeah, if you get the limited interior in the Rebel, it's pretty much the same as what you're seeing here with like all the fancy features and all that. Almost forgot. So with this limited package, $80,615. So yeah, if you equip them, pretty similar when it comes to options. They actually come out pretty similar with the pricing if you have the same engine. So with that being said, let's take them out, drive them, and well, let's see if that Power Wagon actually drives any better, because again, you have a huge payload deficit compared to the Rebel. Well, we're gonna set up in the Power Wagon first and drive the Rebel second, because I said so. I'm really interested to see, because I think this is the first time, it's not the first time I've compared Rebel to Power Wagon, but I do believe this is the first time that I have been able to do 6.4 Hemi, 6.4 Hemi with both of them. Sorry, I just gotta make sure I squeeze through these cones and don't run them over. Don't need to add an orange stripe to the bottom of this truck. But what I'll say right off the bat is it's comfortable. What is this Jeep doing? The world may never... Okay. What are they doing? Okay, I'm just gonna... I was gonna go back, but yeah, I don't know what this person's doing. They are just driving like a maniac in a way. Okay. Anywho, it seems pretty comfortable with the suspension. I think there might actually, like, we'll see when we drive the Rebel, there might actually be a difference with the ride. Handles pretty well. Now, I've said this in my Power Wagon reviews, but you can put 35s on these right off the bat. It's one thing I'll never understand is why Ram doesn't just do that from the factory. You know, Ford and Chevy put bigger tires on their off-road trucks, and so... You know, I understand that a tire is an easy modification, but it's like... Sometimes doing it right the first time is the best thing. Because there's a lot of people that just don't want to modify their cars, even if it is tires. They just want it done right, out of the box. And I would say that tires this size on a truck this big, I don't know about that. Suspension is really comfortable. I think that's going to be the big differentiating factor between both of these with this. It's going to end up being the suspension. Vroom vroom! 6.4 Hemi power. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Sports truck. So, yeah, it drives well. Really comfortable for an HT. Like, it's very, very soft for an HT truck. It's quite impressive. So, with that being said, let's pop over into the Rebel and see if the Rebel is just as comfortable, less comfortable, more comfortable. Who knows? We'll find out. Well, setting off in the Ram Rebel HD. Interesting, interesting. So this feels, you know, more like a traditional, I gotta squeeze through here, more like a traditional Ram HD. You know, a lot of people are just constantly comparing this to the Power Wagon. It makes sense, and so I do video comparisons on it too. But yeah, this is firm. This is firmer. Right off the bat, you can feel the difference between them. That is fascinating. Yeah, it's like the normal Ram HD feel. If you don't know, the Power Wagon just kind of glides like a cloud in a way for an HD truck. This, you feel the bumps, it kind of goes back and forth, but it's the price you pay for more payload. It's the price you pay for more payload, like just over 1,000 pounds versus almost 3,000 pounds in payload capacity. It's a huge difference. It's a huge, huge difference. But some other stuff about the Rebel, the 6.4 Hemi, it's interesting because you can also get this with the diesel. And the diesel has more torque, but I'd say the downside of the diesel would probably be the extra weight you get in the front end, a little bit stiffer ride, even more stiffer than this. And obviously it costs more. Right, you always got that to take into account with diesels. They are more expensive compared to their gas counterparts for maintenance and everything. Love the sound of this engine. It's really cool. It's really cool how it sounds. So yeah, in summary, the Rebel, it drives well. It basically gives you some off-road looks and some off-road chops that the regular Ram HD doesn't have, but it's not a diesel. I mean, this is obviously the gas version, but it's not a Power Wagon. It's a different truck, and you do feel that with the drive. This is stiffer, and it's just a different vehicle overall. But that's the Rebel.